It's an example of how we've learned and how we've used technology to integrate so people can work together. I would just sort of add, think big about what you're doing. The people there are really great. I mean, when we've challenged them, they've really stepped up and do things. Don't limit their experiences. They're on the internet. They see what's going on. They need to be updated in the latest technology, equipment, software. Otherwise, they're going to see their career stagnating, and they're not going to want to stay with you and keep going. We're doing things like next generation of technology with mobile devices, and I thank you for your time. Hopefully I stayed sort of within the time limit.
All of these case studies are extremely informative, and I hope that you're getting valuable information from them. We have the wonderful support of everybody from the business world, but particularly the government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Our next speaker is Dr. Atul Rahman, who is the Bank Governor of Bangladesh. And again, I'm going to have to ask people to keep the presentation somewhat short. Governor.
Mr. Chairman, Honorable Finance Minister, Honorable Economic Advisor to the Prime Minister, other distinguished guests on the podium, ladies and gentlemen. I have quite a long presentation, but I promise I'll not make that. I'll be only showing you some slides, and I will really concentrate on the focused issues, how the Bangladesh could be an ideal destination for the IT-related services and exports. The presentation, as I said, quite elaborate, but I'll be skipping some of this. But what I'll try to make that, a lot of stories on Bangladesh have already been told. I will try to tell, the well-kept secret called Bangladesh turnaround. The Bangladesh has made a turnaround in its journey towards development, and I will be telling you some of these fundamentals, the macroeconomic fundamentals, and the kind of initiatives we are already taking, which will make this journey even more comfortable in the coming days. The Bangladesh has indeed made a turnaround, and with a very low kind of investment level compared with East Asian countries, but the achievements in the human development indicators and the social development indicators have been really impressive despite that low income, and that's because of the wonderful people where we've heard about them, the creative people, and also a lot of organizations, not only the government, there are many organizations beyond governments, and one of the great things about Bangladesh that we can come together, we can work together, and that's the togetherness is also very useful. Over 39 years since liberation, Bangladesh has raised its per capita income fourfold, cutting poverty by more than half, and is well on course in attaining most of the Millennium Development Goals. Recently, Bangladesh was also rewarded. Our finance minister says that we could have got another one, particularly on women empowerment. Bangladesh really exports about 12 billion worth of garments in last year, ranking 4th in the world behind China, EU, and Turkey. What is with the current economic trends, in particular the trends in per capita and national income, probably in a few years we will be touching the schedule for the middle income countries, the lower end, particularly in per capita incomes. Probably it will take some more years to really improve on our social and human dimensions, so that we become fulfilled middle income countries in a decade or so. What are the major breakthroughs that Bangladesh has made? It has been a sustained real GDP growth, averaging 3.7% in 80s, 4.8% in 90s, and 5.7% since then. And this year we crossed 6% growth rate, and we want to continue this, and we want to even go up to 8% within a few years. building up we have built up a very competitive apparel sector. We are near self-sufficient in food production. We have a very good record of disaster management, and we have a record of declining population growth from 3% in 75 to only 1.3% this year. And we have, as you said, we have been performing impressively on the Millennium Development Goals. Life expectancy has gone up from 50 to 63 since 75. Rapid decline in child and maternal mortality. Literacy has more than doubled, and gender parity in primary and secondary education has been achieved. And in many cases, the women education is even better than men in many other institutions. These are the macroeconomic fundamentals, which can favor the foreign investors. Economic growth is not only good, but it's resilient and is impervious to shocks, both natural and external. I'll show you some slides, and you can feel it how it's going, up despite the problems. Private sector is the lead driver of growth now. The cost competitiveness in terms of low-cost labor and also very adaptive labor, I would say. Growing exports and workers' remittance inflows, bolstering external sector viability. Low external debt service viability, under 6% of the export, and resilient and well-regulated banking and financial sector. As you must have seen, many of the banks committed suicide in this country, but we didn't even have a small influence in the banking sector over the last 2 or 3 years. So it's doing very well, and the very highly resilient economy. We had reforms, a lot of economic reforms, and really the new export-driven industries, vibrant service sector, rising private sector investment, agricultural performance has been very robust, and because of that we could absorb the shocks. Our structural current accounts is surplus, robust foreign exchange reserve, durable remittance inflows, and reduced poverty. This is the growth. This demonstrates remarkable consistency. I was talking. This is per capita growth. The green one. Is going consistently with other countries and also going up the per capita income. This is the exports. You see how this is growing. Exports have nearly doubled since 2005, despite the global crisis. This is our current account balance. This is has been bolstered by the remittance, 500% growth in a decade. This gives us a lot of cushion, and also balance of payment management. The rapid reserve accumulation provides an additional buffer. Over the last 2 years or so, almost the reserve has doubled and is still growing, but not at the cost of import. Import is also growing, but we are earning more. So that's going very well. The resilient FDI despite global crisis, although the amount is not high, but the portfolio investment has not been that much, but our real investment from the foreign is going, as you heard the stories, case studies, is going up. One of the secrets of this attracting investment is, of course, the cost competitiveness. You can see the Bangladesh, and compared to, say, India, China, Sri Lanka, all these countries, even Vietnam, we are much more competitive in terms of labor cost and also the advantages we have there. Again, this is something which many of the European countries and this country also worried about, this fiscal deficit. You can see that the fiscal deficit is still below 4%, and the domestic debt GDP ratio is only around 40%. In many countries, even in Pakistan, is 80 plus. So we are much more moderate in terms of fiscal deficits, and that gives us extra strength. The stock markets is also doing very well, and but one good news which I want to share with you, for the first time Bangladesh got rating from S&P and Moody, and they really placed us only below India. You can see the rates, and again, how better than Pakistan, Sri Lanka, we are as good as almost Indonesia and Vietnam in the BB group. So Bangladesh is really doing in terms of its economic health. That's kind of rating we got. And these are the major observations of the rating agencies. resilience of Bangladesh economy to domestic and external shocks, macroeconomic and price stability underpinned by prudent macroeconomic management, strong and resilient RMG sector and robust inflow of remittance, domestic demand underpinned by strong remittance, MFI activities, social safety net programs, so all that maintained a very high internal demand, and so that we could have achieved this 6% growth. And of course, the narrow revenue is one of our weaknesses, but we are working on a lot of reforms, so that last 2 months alone, the Bangladesh saw about 20% growth.